Hi, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I just want to acknowledge the Gadigal people, traditional custodians of Gadigal country in and around Warwick, here where I'm based. Pay my respects to elders past and present. Welcome to Consultation in Action. I'm Stephen, a Warwick based secondary teacher and consultant specialist. In this episode, we will clarify what consultation is, how it differs from collaboration in case management. So we'll sort of contrast and compare there, explain the significance of triadic relationships, and outline 5 well established consultation models suitable for Queensland school context. As always, joining me on this is Kay. Hello, Kay. And Kay, you're also in Queensland. We're experiencing a bit of weather, and you're also a experienced case manager, right? Good to have you on the show. And Aziza, how are you? You're in Western Australia, and you're going to be, as always, best friend in the little school, biggest friend in the smallest school. You're a primary school teacher. You're also a collaboration expert. Let's not forget that. All right. So it's so good to have you guys. I guess it's not fair to just jump on in. I want to give you guys a bit of a framing the territory, so we understand a bit. So to position consultation clearly, we have to consider 3 service delivery approaches. So consultation can be indirect support. The consultant advises the teacher. So the teacher implements strategies with the student. So in this regard, Aziza, you might actually come to, let's just say, me, the subject matter expert. Don't laugh, but and then you would actually go on to use the skills. I would try and upskill you. You would take that knowledge and learning and whatever else and try and implement it with the student, and that would be the client. Another way, and you'd know this is easier, is collaboration, joint work with the student. Authority and responsibility are shared across a team. And as you know, with collaboration, Aziza, there's no ultimate authority. That's not the idea. The idea is that multiple different silos join together in an open sort of collaboration in order to get. And there's a lot of studies on that. And I know in your podcast that we did, you had a great amount of studies and really quite fascinating insights into collaboration. And then Kay, you're going to love this one because it's case management, and that's sort of a direct model, direct support, coordinated service delivery. Right? So a case manager brokers and monitors multiple interventions and holds operational authority. And because of your knowledge of NDIS and my personal knowledge, where my brother, who is disabled, he has a case manager, and tell me if this is right or wrong, but they sort of collaborate with him, and the case manager sort of says, well, I'll get a person from here, I'll get a person from here, and the law sort of come in, but I'm overall sort of the authority to an extent. So consultant, consultee, client. All right. In practice, case management, and this would be Kay speaking. In practice, case management requires direct action, scheduling occupational therapy sessions, liaising with families, managing NDIS adjustments during consultation. By contrast, you receive professional guidance and then apply those strategies myself. The consultant's capacity to maintain this indirect stance is what sets them apart and is essential. So I will probably go over now just the core consultation models. So in the literature, you've got Brown et al. 2015, Newman and Rothfield 2024, so that's quite new, identified 5 principal models used in Queensland schools. So you've got mental health consultation, all right? Kaplan and Kaplan, 1999, they've done a study on that. The focus is the teacher's emotional responses. Example, a teacher anxious about challenging year 10 class learns brief breathing techniques and reframes disruptive behavior as communicative, reducing escalation. So the mental health model, the consultant, the consultee, the teacher is coming to the consultant because the client, they don't know how to deal with the client. And then through the mental health model, the consultant teaches the consultee about breathing techniques. Then you've got behavioral problem solving consultation. The focus on this is observable behavior and data. And I do actually have a case study on this one. Tools are like ABC charts, which, if you're not sure, they're antecedent behavior consequence charts. Then you've got SMART goals, reinforcement schedules. Quick example is verbal callouts are reduced from 12 to 3 per lesson after data collection, using targeted praise and systematic weighting of rewards. That may be two things that are put forth in there. The cognitive behavioral consultation, that's the interaction of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. That's the focus of it. An example is a mathematics teacher believes that he never listens. The student never listens, is examined and replaced with evidence-based self-efficacy statements, improving instructional confidence. All right, so solution-focused consultation. Exceptions, so the focus here on solutions is exceptions and desired future states. Example is Aziza. I think you've got an example for this. And Aziza would say, in my year 3 class, we asked, when is Jamal on task? We discovered he concentrates during art stations. Replicating those structures in literacy groups doubled his on-task time. So we looked at a solution. Systems organizational consultation focus. This is the interesting one, I think. There's policy schedules, school-wide practices. That's for the whole school. Or it could be for a particular cohort where all the people who interact with that cohort need to be upskilled. The upskiller, the one giving the skill, that's the consultant. The consultee, the ones who need the help, they're the teachers, and the clients are the students. Now, I'm just going to go into a quick, for the systems organizational consultation focus, that's like changing policies, looking at changing schedules. So you're looking at a whole swath, a whole suite of different things. And that's where you get things like positive behavior for learning. That's where you get things like Berry Street, where you get things like Teach Like a Champion. And there's a lot of data monitoring, there's coaching sessions, there's counselors, there's all sorts of things going on in there. So now we're going to look at how it applies, because that's what we always really want when we do these things. Like, what happens in the real world? We talk about it, but what, in this case, we're talking about, it's a true story, Crystal, a girl named Crystal. Sounds like a good novel. So let's apply Doherty's 2014 4 consultation stages to a real scenario. These are considered the sort of generic stages of consultation. There is other models like West's, which has 10 steps, 10 stages. We're just going to focus on Doherty's, which is considered sort of the standard du jour. All right. Crystal is a Year 9 student with ADHD and social anxiety. I'll just say that that's not a foregone conclusion. It's more like assumed. Her English teacher, Mr. King, reports frequent callouts and group work avoidance. Yeah. Now, in Doherty's model, looking stage 1 is entry. In a 15-minute meeting, what are we trying to do? We're trying to reduce disruptions. We're not trying to stop them completely. That would be great, and we'd love that, but let's get real. Let's look at the frequency. Let's look at the intensity. Let's look at the baseline, and we just want to raise it. We want to raise her baseline of interaction in class, positive interaction, to a better level. So we're going to reduce disruptions. What are our roles? Well, we're going to have a consultant as a coach, someone who's dealt with it before, ideally, and not someone who hasn't. That would be good. And teacher's going to implement it. So the consultant won't be in the classroom, won't be watching Crystal through a sniper's eyeglass or anything, seeing what's going on from afar, binoculars, like dressed up as a tree, being weird. They're not there. It's the teacher that they're teaching. And we need a timeline. And it's just like a smart goal, really. So we're entering now stage 2, diagnosis. We've given the sheets, the forms, the how to, the why how to the teacher to implement in class. It doesn't mean we're changing anything in the first week. We're actually collecting data. So Doherty's stage 2 is called diagnosis. And it's 1 week of ABC data collection. ABC's in many different forms, but it's basically antecedent, behavior, consequence. We're just gathering data. We're not trying to change anything. There might be some tips and tricks like breathing or things we haven't thought of that we might want to try. And that's very good, but we might not need to. So again, diagnosis. The teacher self-rates their stress. They're writing all this down, sort of Crystal yells out. You go over to your form. Tick, tick. What are you doing? You're marking me. You're not getting in trouble. I just need to do this for the both of us. And kids are like, oh, cool. And then we have a look at, we gather data from Crystal's run school behavior entries. So we're looking at that. We can get anecdotal data from other teachers. That may be something the consultant has access and power to, but we're just looking at getting some real actionable data. Stage 3 is implementation. And this, again, Doherty's model, generic, number 1 in schools. And we're looking at the CBC approach, so the cognitive behavioral consultation approach. That's the lens we're going to attack this through. So stage 3, implementation. Break written tasks into 15-minute segments, the visible timer. So we're putting things in now. We want to see how they go. Now, Crystal's writing. She only wrote for 15 minutes, Crystal. Here's a timer. Now you know where you're at. Provide laminated visual schedule on her desk. It's right over it, but it's going to be okay. Self-monitoring card. Zones of regulation. So how do you feel? Where are you at? Where would you like to be? What do you feel best in? There's all sorts of things with zones of regulation that can work really well. The time cool down corner. I'm too angry corner. I'm too tired. I didn't sleep last night. I'm scared last night. It was real. Mr. King might do stretches because he knows his class. He's just putting things in that are going to help and just seeing. You're still gathering data, all right? But you want to see over time. Stage 4, Doherty. Disengagement. After 6 weeks, disruptive incidents decrease by 60%. That's what the data says. You're looking at it. Teacher does an assessment, feels better. Crystal has work she's submitting. And Mr. King's stress has fallen from 7 to 2, maybe to 3. He's happy to just keep going and do the next part. Consultant outlines some key ideas he might want to take into the next step. But essentially, it's called disengagement because the consultant can now disengage. The upskilling in this case has worked or has gained tangible results that the teacher can take away. And Kay would chime in from a case management perspective. Additional parent liaison and occupational therapy referral may be appropriate. However, the consultation model ensures ownership remains with the teacher. That's right. And it might be different as easier for primary school as well, but I don't know if it would be too different. That's actually more of a primary school model, really. There's no sending Crystal off to get skills to help herself. That's not going to, that's a big call. Anyway, we want to get some reflections. We want to get some takeaways. And the key points are maintain the triadic relationship. The consultant begins teaching the student directly, the consultation process is compromised. It's not that direct relationship in the one we've talked about. Match the model to the need, behavior concerns, data-driven behavior methods, teacher anxiety, mental health, systematic issues, systems model. Document review, brief, structured records support accountability and sustainability. And Ziza would chime in again. The primary is tangible tools such as sticker charts often engage students more effectively than, say, digital spreadsheets. Kay would say, the Queensland Inclusive Education Policy, that's Department of Education 2023, emphasises teacher responsibility for classroom adjustments. Consultation supports that obligation rather than replacing it. Yeah, so an action step you can schedule a 20-minute consultation with a colleague this week. Define roles, set one measurable goal, something we can all do. Arrange a follow-up and share this episode with a peer so you can compare notes. Small structured cycles for foster a culture of ongoing professional learning. This is actually aligns with stanza 6, Australian Professional Standards for Teachers, supports inclusive education requirements. Thanks again, Kay and Aziz, for their insights, and thank you for listening to Consultation in Action.